Welcome back for another build video, folks. This time around, we're going to do what I call the Shotti Shield build. That's Shotti with the 2 T's and an I, not 2 D's and a Y. So starting with the specialization, we have the Technician, which, while it may seem like a bit of a surprise, we're really using 2 of its unique elements. The first of which is the Artificer Hive, and then secondarily we have the Crusader Ballistic Shield. The +1 skill tier provided by the Technician actually gets us up to that 2nd tier. For our primary weapon, we have the Scorpio shotgun. It is certainly one of my favorites, one I use a lot, particularly that 3 stack of Poison, Disorient, and Shock work really well. And then as you'll see later on, Hunter's Fury is tailored quite well for shotguns, and in my opinion, best shotgun in the game might just be the Scorpio, so that's why we have it on here. For our secondary weapon, we have the Grudge, specifically for its named Perfectly Vindictive talent, which increases the crit hit chance and crit hit damage. So I will make a note here, if you have an SMG that you prefer over the CMMG Banshee that the Grudge is based upon, you could certainly go with that other SMG variant and just roll normal Vindictive. You obviously take a little bit of a hit, 3% each, but not a significant one if you just have a preference for a different SMG type. For our sidearm, we have the Orbit, specifically for the Perfect Finisher talent, which gives you 35% crit hit chance and 40% crit hit damage for 15 seconds. And this is a fairly significant increase over the normal variant, which gives you 30% and 30%. So if you can get the Orbit, it's really nice. As you can kind of tell, if you could stack Perfect Finisher and Perfect Vindictive, you can get quite a lot of extra crit hit damage for this build. For our mask, we have our first piece of Hunter's Fury, and that is rolled with crit hit damage in both the attribute and mod slot. Keep in mind, you are giving up 1 attribute slot because it is a gear set, but I will say it is quite worth it for all of those gear set bonuses that you can see there. So I'll go ahead and run through all of them here and now, and then we'll just breeze through the rest of the gear set pieces later on. So at 2 pieces, you get 15% shotgun damage and SMG damage. Both of those are obviously working towards our choice for primary and secondary weapon. At 3 pieces, you get 20% armor on kill and 100% health on kill. Feels really good on this build, particularly because you're going to be up close and personal quite a lot. This allows you to play a little more fast and loose. You can get really close to dying, and as long as you get that kill, you get right back to 100% health and 20% of your armor. Feels really good. You can just keep going, keep mowing through enemies. And then obviously at 4 pieces, you get the Apex Predator talent. So speaking of being up close and personal, it gives you a weapon damage buff to enemies within 15 meters. And if you kill an enemy that is debuffed by this talent, you cause all enemies within 5 meters of your target to be disoriented, and also amplify your weapon damage by an additional 5%. For our backpack, we have Seska Vroba to get us plus 10% critical hit chance. As you can see, the rolls there could be better, but the most important thing is we have crit hit damage and crit hit chance in the attribute slots, and then we also have crit hit damage in the mod slot. And then for the talent, we have Unstoppable Force, and this works really well with the Apex Predator talent. Every time you kill a disoriented enemy, you amplify your damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. And then as you can see here, we've got Unstoppable Force, where killing that same enemy increases your total weapon damage by an additional 5% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So really the way I like to think about it is you're getting an additional 5% damage for every enemy that you kill, because you're getting 5% with Apex Predator, and now with Unstoppable Force, you're getting an extra 5%. So every enemy you kill increases your total weapon damage by 10% now, stacking up to 5 times, giving you an additional 50% weapon damage that should allow you to just roll through your enemies. So we're going to drop down to the chest piece, which is the exotic Ridgeway's Pride. As you can see, we've got the crit hit chance damage, and then the crit hit damage mod that we have on all 3 pieces for this build. And then here we have the Bleeding Edge talent, which works super well with the Hunter's Fury Apex Predator. As you can see, both apply to enemies within 15 meters. So this one is when you shoot an enemy within 15 meters, you apply bleed, and that repairs between 3 and 48% of your armor. As you can see down there, for every enemy that's bleeding within 15 meters, you get up to 48% armor repair. And for our gloves, we have our second piece of Hunter's Fury, also rolled with weapon damage and critical hit damage. For our holster, we get our third piece of Hunter's Fury, again with a weapon core and critical hit damage. And then for our knee pads, we finished off with our fourth piece of Hunter's Fury. And then we did go a little bit different here and actually roll this core attribute to an armor core. That's really for two main reasons. One is for our shield. We get an additional shield tier, so that's how we have a tier 2 shield on this build. And then on top of that, that armor core just increases our survivability. Given that we are so up close and personal with our enemies, I felt that the armor core helped keep us alive. And on top of that, it works really well with the bleeding edge talent. The armor repair is a percentage of your total armor. So by increasing our armor, we're also increasing our armor repair. And then for our skills, we already talked about them, but again, we have the Artificer Hive, which I am really like on any shield build I can get it onto. It has a passive component where it will send out a drone that repairs your shield when it is active, specifically the Crusader Ballistic Shield, which allows us to wield our shotgun and SMG, but still take the brunt of our forward-facing damage on our shield as opposed to our vulnerable body, and allows us to stay upright more often. So there's the build. Let me know what you think in the comments. Specifically, let me know how many armor cores you end up rolling. It's definitely more of a preferential component of this build. When I was trying this build out, I started with full weapon cores and then found myself rolling that armor core to keep myself upright. You may feel differently. You may be just fine with all 6 weapon cores. Alternatively, you may feel that 1 armor core isn't enough. You want 2, maybe you want 3. Let me know in the comments what you find is your sweet spot. Love to hear from you guys, get more player data. But first and foremost, thank you for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I will see you in the next one.